It's recording.
Oh, okay. Hi everybody, thank you so much for being here. We're so excited. We just hit 100,000 subscribers.
It's crazy.
In less than a month of being on YouTube, and that is mind-blowing. So thank you to all of you. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments down below, because we love seeing our YouTube fam grow.
Absolutely.
It's so cool. In today's video, we are going to be talking, as requested from you guys, about William's awesome travels.
Yeah. To Bangladesh and Pakistan.
It's gonna be a good conversation. Let's start off with why on earth someone like you, a white boy, born in a white town with white people, and you had never traveled outside of the country.
Nope, I left the province once prior to that.
So this is your first plane ride? Like
no.
outside of the country?
Yeah, first plane ride outside of the country.
And you went straight to Pakistan?
No.
No?
Bangladesh.
Okay, yeah, you went to Pakistan. Yeah, you went to Bangladesh.
Actually, Dubai and then Bangladesh.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy if you ask me.
It was an interesting experience for sure. So
what was it like stepping off of the airplane and seeing, like, was it a culture shock?
Yeah. So the reason for going is myself and a friend of mine, we went with the Tablighi Jamaat, which is, for people who don't know, is kind of like Christian missionaries go to different countries, but we don't go to talk to the non-Muslims. It's about kind of bringing the Muslims closer to the mosque, closer to Allah.
So you're preaching to Muslims. You're not going to preach, like, because missionaries, it's different because they're going to preach to people that don't follow Christianity, whereas you were going to preach to people that were already Muslim. Yeah. Just to strengthen your faith, basically. Exactly.
So to strengthen mine, to strengthen theirs, it's kind of the whole package deal. Yeah, so the Jamaat, the TJ guys, they recommend, if you can go 4 months in your lifetime to go to India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. So I was free and able, so my friend that I went with is, my father figure in Islam. Much beloved, dear individual to me. So I didn't want to go. I wanted to go. I didn't want to go. And he's like, no, let's just do it. Let's go.
Bit the bullet and you went.
Yeah.
Where did you land? Like, when you went to Bangladesh, where did your plane land?
I landed in Dhaka. So
wow. So for those of you that don't know what Dhaka looks like, it looks like this. So yeah, that was crazy. So you obviously didn't know anyone except for him. Yeah,
and this is like, I think, the most overcrowded city in the world, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's crazy. It's insane. I honestly, coming from a town of 40,000 people, to go to Dhaka, it's like a lot of people. Everywhere you look, every time there's 1,000 people. It's not a joke. Like 1,000 people. 1,000 people. Yeah. 1,000 people. You look at your shoes and there's like 1,000 people. So when we got to Dhaka, the city is so polluted, right? And I'm going to be very honest in my review of Bangladesh and Pakistan, because that's what people want, right? So obviously the city's very polluted. So I had a really hard time with the pollution when we first showed up. It was just like...
going from clean Canadian air. Oh yeah. Like, our air here is so clean.
Crisp, it's Arctic.
Very clean, right? Yeah.
So, and then to go to that, and like my lymph nodes would swell up. Like the first day we got there. So basically when the Jamaat brothers show up, they go to the markaz, which is the Kakrel markaz in Dhaka.
And what's that?
So it's basically like the meeting point. So all the people from all over the world come to that point, and then they get put in a group, another Jamaat, like 10 people, whatever, and then sent out to certain localities. So we're there for a couple of days, and it was really like, that's probably my most homesick that I was on the whole trip, because it was like, I just like realized
the shock. You had this culture shock, right?
I'm like
I'm here
10,000 miles away from home. And it was a little bit tough, and
it's hard, especially if it's your first trip out of the country.
Oh yeah,
and you're going somewhere where you don't know what to expect. Yeah.
So the cool thing is that I had, again, my brother with me, not birth brother, but he was with me the whole time for the whole 4 months. So I always had that connection, kind of local. Yeah. You can still communicate. Yeah. When we were first there, I met Brother Iqbal. Who was our chauffeur for our honeymoon,
Malaysia
actually,
trip.
In Malaysia.
Oh my God, I love him.
So because we got put in the same group, and he was the only non-Bangladeshi or Pakistani, and then myself. Yeah,
because he's Malaysian.
Exactly. Yeah. So everybody else was.
So he's a foreigner just as much as you.
So right away he came.
So you hit it off.
He's just like basically like we're in this together now.
Yeah.
So just an incredible human being, my dear brother. Just prior to the Tongi Ijtima, it's called, which is the second largest gathering of human beings on planet Earth next to Hajj.
So this is what it looks like. Crazy, right? Yeah. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, I was amazed. So basically they sent us to the University of Dhaka. I was a little bit taken aback, honestly, about how it's kind of like a normal culture there versus here. Like for us, garbage day, we load up our garbage bins, we take it to the curb, and we have the sanitation and takes it away. There, like at the university, they just walk over to the railing and just dump their garbage. And this was the medical university, so me and brother Iqbal were
But who picks it up? No one picks up the garbage?
They burn it sometimes, yeah.
Very different than Canadian living.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I remember he gave up. He got so frustrated at how like because Malaysia's very clean, right?
Yeah,
so even he was like,
clean, yeah.
"What, you guys?" He stopped preaching about God and started preaching like Mr. Clean to the people. He's like, "How can you guys live like this?" It was so funny, but
just keep in mind though, not all Muslim countries are like that.
No. I mean, you got to remember, it's so overcrowded.
Yeah. Like, it just depends on where you go, like which country you're in. Every country is going to be different.
Yeah.
So.
We got sent to the university, and we were basically like recruiting people to go to the Ijtima. So fast forward 2 weeks, we went to the Ijtima, and I was like blown away.
Yeah, I bet.
So it's basically on a river. On one side of the river, you have the foreign section, and Bangladesh is a poor country, but what they do for the foreign people, this because the government puts on a lot of this stuff, right? It's incredible. Like, when we first walked up, it's like, okay, first things first, you guys have to have tea.
Aww.
That's number one. And then there's like a cardboard map of the whole layout, and it's like, okay, you're from Canada, find where your country is, and you go there. And then you just basically put your sleeping bag on the ground, mosquito tent, sleeping bag, and you're like.
So the whole time you were there. Like when I vacation, every time I've ever vacationed, I have always slept in a bed. Now this was completely different for you because you didn't sleep in a bed. No. You slept on the floor for 4 months.
Correct.
That's a big deal. Like, didn't your back get sore and like, weren't you like uncomfortable and like sleeping next to random people that you've never met before? Like, isn't it awkward? Like,
this is the beauty of Islam, honestly, is that you've got 2 million people roughly that were there. It's love, it's family, literally. So it was so cool because the foreign section is like, you see us white Canadians, which they put right beside the Americans and right beside the British, because we all speak the same languages.
Yeah.
And then you see the Chinese Muslims, and then you see the people from Kazakhstan, and they're like massive white guys with Chinese facial features. That's so cool, I was blown away. I was like, holy hell.
And like as a new Muslim, like at that time, because how many years ago was this?
This was in 2000. We left Christmas 2012. So from basically in the beginning of 2013.
Yeah. So like as a new Muslim, seeing all of these people from around the world, all different ethnicities, backgrounds, races, ages, languages, like seeing them all come together for one purpose, which is propagating the faith to themselves and to each other, is like really inspiring.
Oh, it's incredible.
And like just like really cool. It's really cool that you got that kind of exposure, because to me that reminds me of Hajj. Like when I went for Hajj, I went in 2007, and it was a big deal. Spiritually,
for my faith, that was the most incredible experience of my life. But that's a different story. Day before we leave Bangladesh, we go to a friend's house from Kelowna, basically. His parents are there. And he said, go to their house for dinner. So we went to their house for dinner, and I was like so thirsty. And I just like brought juice. I just and then I didn't realize that it was like Tang that you mix in water. Yeah. So FYI, if you happen to be a Canadian, don't drink the water when you go to Bangladesh, because you're not ready for it.
I never drink the water.
You're not ready for it.
Because our bodies are not conditioned to the water.
Yeah,
unless it's bottled.
Yeah, that was the worst illness I've ever had.
Aww.
It was like
bad stomach flu.
It was out
like
both
extreme.
ends, like this, like just and just constant. Oh, it was so bad. Yeah.
That's brutal. Were you still feeling that way when you went to Pakistan?
That was the night before I went to Pakistan.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I was really sick. Yeah, I was really sick. But it was only like a 24-hour thing. Prior to that, I should say that I fell asleep in one of the mosques. We sleep in, we go to different mosques and we stay in the mosques. And I was just not feeling good, and I just slept in my sleeping bag. Yeah. And they're like, "Let's put your tent together." I'm like, no. So I fell asleep in my sleeping bag with one arm out.
Yeah. And
Bangladesh has some mosquitoes. Yeah. Because when I woke up, I think I counted like at least 18 bites.
Oh my god. Oh.
So we went to the hospital, and then they're like, dengue? Question mark? Because I was watching them, I was like, okay. And they're like, okay, we're gonna run some blood work. And I'm like, in no way, shape, or form am I getting a blood test in a third world country.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
So you left?
So I left, yeah.
Oh no.
So yeah, flash forward, we went to Pakistan. Yeah. One of the coolest experiences that I hope to never have to experience again was our train ride from Lahore all the way to Hyderabad in the south. It was like a 15, 16-hour train ride.
Wow. I've never been on a train. For reference, he has traveled 100% more in Pakistan than I have, and I've been to Pakistan multiple times, like 5-6 times. I don't even know how many times, but I've never traveled like him. Like you've been a legit traveler in Pakistan. Yeah. That's
so when we got with that group, once we came to Lahore and Raivan, the markets there where everybody meets up, it was just me. Actually, there was a bunch of people, but most of the people couldn't afford, like the high-end tickets to go on a nice train or a bus or whatever. So they're like, okay, we'll send you and you guys will take the bus, and then the rest of us will just go on basically the poor train. And I was like, no. I was like, we in this together. Let's go.
So you went on the train instead of the bus, which would have been a really nice air conditioned, like.
No, there was there's no air conditioning. There's no running water. I don't even think there was electricity. Barely.
How about washrooms?
There's a hole in the floor.
In the train.
Yeah. That was it. So.
Oh my god! What if you fall into it?
No, it wasn't. It was like a proper like the standover type toilet, but it was just straight out the hole.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that we were there for like 18 days in Hyderabad, staying in some pretty rough, tumbled, slummy areas. It was incredible.
But something very significant happened to him before he got on the train.
No, to go back.
Hence why we have zero footage to show you guys.
To go back. So all my time in Bangladesh and what I had got up into Pakistan, I had on my Galaxy S2. Fortunately or unfortunately, somebody needed my phone more than I did, so I got pickpocketed.
They stole his
getting
phone.
On the train, packing my bag, and my phone was in my pocket, and then the guy kept bumping like this, right, and slipped his hand in my pocket, but he kept bumping me, and so I turned around, I threw my bag down, and I shoved the guy. He just went like, it was like a bowling pin knocking people over. And by that time,
he had stolen your phone.
He had already got a hold of my phone. I didn't notice until maybe 10, 15 minutes
And the whole
later.
time, you guys searched the train to see if he had your phone. But you couldn't find him, right?
No. So that, in Hyderabad was incredible. We just traveled from mosque to mosque to mosque to mosque. And the people, the kids, it was incredible because as soon as they're like a white guy from Canada, he speaks English, everybody wants to speak English in Pakistan.
Yeah.
So these groups of kids would just follow us from one mosque to the next. And when they found out French fries were my favorite food, everywhere we would go, the kids would have their moms prepare me like French fries, their own. So I got like everybody's take on French fries along the way.
That's really cool. Very, very cool. So by the time you came back, was it refreshing to be back home, or like what did you, because by the time you came back you were leading prayers in our mosque, your Arabic had really increased, like you learned a lot of surahs from the Quran, you had memorized a lot, so you learned a lot on this trip. And do you think, would you do it again, like if you like in terms of like being a revert going there, like do you suggest someone to do that?
Looking back with perspective now, obviously times, places, lives, people, everything changes. So I wouldn't go again for 4 months to Bangladesh, Pakistan, India. I mean, I've got little kids and business.
No. I mean, not like now,
I'm
physically.
I'm prefacing.
Okay.
So, I would recommend anybody and everybody to go. I mean, there's so many different groups within Islam that hate on each other and dislike each other, and this is one thing that you don't have to be a full-fledged patched member of the Tablighi Jamaat. You just go. You go because you're going to work on yourself. Honestly, where else are you going to go where you can have 3 days to just focus on reading the Quran, just focused on learning how to pray properly, just focused on increasing your faith, right? Without distractions. You can't do it at home. That's why they say you should go. The 4 months I would never change that in a heartbeat.
That's awesome.
It really enabled me to connect with my faith and see kind of the beauty of the like the Muslim unity, right? Because I haven't gone for Hajj, I haven't gone for Umrah, but I did go to the Ijtima, and there was also one in Pakistan. It was the smaller of the two, the Jor, and like it's incredible to be able to have that time to work on you. 4 months is a long time.
It is a long time.
Right? So and you're right. Like when I came back, and so much had changed. Started leading the prayers, not because I wanted to, unfortunately, because I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
So they literally forced me to. But alhamdulillah, you know, the journey in and of itself, you know, I really kind of understood about living life modestly. The time I left, I only traveled with a laptop bag.
So you learned how to become a minimalist while you were there.
All I had was one chadar to lay on the ground and one chadar on top. Chadar. It's basically like a very thin little blanket. Yeah. Almost like a large hijab.
Like a
beach towel, basically.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
So that's literally all I had.
That's
and
cool.
My pillow was just a couple of sets of clothes that I had.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Wow.
I literally
inspiring.
A laptop bag, only because that's the smallest thing I could find. Right? I didn't need. You just realize that you don't need all this stuff. You know.
No. So behind the scenes, like all this stuff is happening at all points in time, and like you wouldn't know that this kind of awesome stuff is happening, and that people are out there and they're renewing their faith and they're strengthening their faith and they're being very simple and leaving their lives behind to do this kind of stuff. So that's really cool.
It is because you know, as we see, there's so much disunity amongst Muslims. You know, these guys, their effort is to unify people, to bring them together, regardless of which madhab you follow, regardless of where you're from. And honestly, it's such a beautiful thing that everybody should experience in their life, honestly.
Okay, so let's wrap it up. In general, it was an awesome trip. I think you had a really good time. We, since then, have not returned to Pakistan. Not returned, but I mean, like, we haven't visited Pakistan as a married couple yet. But I think in the future we would love to. I have a lot of family there, both sides of my family, my dad's side, my mom's side. So it'd be really cool to introduce you to my family, inshallah, someday.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah. That was cool. Really cool. So if you are from Pakistan or Bangladesh, let us know in the comments down below. If you have been on this Jamaat before, tell us your stories, because it's really cool to hear your experiences on Jamaat and stuff. So,
but at the end of the day, it's such a beautiful thing for a new Muslim to jump into it and be like, wow, I'm surrounded by...
And focus only on faith.
Focusing on building my faith.
Yeah.
And you know what? Because of that experience, when I came back, I mean, I was married within 2 months, maybe.
Yeah, that's crazy.
After so many years of because obviously, you know, your parents saw like the dedication.
Yeah, they did.
Of the experience and everything, and it really it'll only do good for you, honestly. Yeah. So I mean, even if you have a bias one way or the other, go and see what happens.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yep, I'm not a recruiting agent, by the way. You know, I haven't gone in years with the Jamaat, but I still have lifelong friends and memories and you know, and
You've met so many people from it.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not support people who are just trying to connect people with their creator? Honestly, like at the end of the day, that's the core basis of what they're doing, is connect me, because we always say when we go out, we talk about myself first. I'm fixing me, and then in doing so, I'm reminding everybody else. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So I would definitely encourage everyone, all you youngsters out there, to go and do these experiences. And you know, relatively, I spent in 4 months, I spent $900.
Wow.
And I lived extravagantly.
Wow.
Honestly.
That's like nothing.
No,
you can spend that in like for 3 nights in a hotel here.
4 months,
Canada.
literally.
That's
so
crazy.
my plane ticket, which was like $2,000, I think, and I spent $900.
Wow.
And I'm talking like any chance I could, I was eating out.
Yeah.
At the restaurants but you just...
That's crazy.
Simplicity.
Wow. Very simple.
So much love to all the Muslims out there, all the TJ brothers. I love you.
Yeah.
All the regular Muslims, this Muslim, that Muslim. You know what? At the end of the day, we all have the responsibility to hold on to the rope of Allah and not become disunited. So regardless of the effort we're a part of or the work that we're doing, may Allah bless each and every single one of us.
I agree. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. If you haven't already, make sure you click like. Leave us a comment down below. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us if you are inspired by this story. And if you haven't already, click that subscribe button. We love to see this YouTube family grow. And as it grows, we'll continue posting more and more and more.
Absolutely. Bye for now, guys.
Bye.